At this point, we've already seen how voter suppression can have a huge impact on the outcome of elections. Arizona and New York are prime examples of this. Now, unfortunately, whenever this happens, it tends to disproportionately impact Bernie Sanders. Now, I've got bad news for you guys. So, there's already signs that voting issues will impact elections in both Rhode Island and California. So, when it comes to Rhode Island, much like Arizona, they're going to be reducing the number of polling places by 66%. Now, additionally, the locations of many polling places have been changed. So, if you are expecting to show up in Rhode Island to the same polling place as you did last time, that may not be the case. So what I will do is put a link in the description box for all of my viewers in Rhode Island, so that way you can input your zip code and it will tell you where the nearest polling place is next to your house. And if you are listening on iTunes, you'll have to go to our YouTube page to get this link. Now, according to WPRI, only 144 of the usual 419 polling places will be open. Now, the only other time where they actually cut polling places dramatically in Rhode Island was in 2008. But even then, they reduced it down to 177 polling places, and this time they only have 144. So even though they reduced it so much in 2008, they at least had 33 more, which again, still ridiculous, but this is the lowest they've had. Now, for example, if you live in Cumberland County, typically you'll have 13 different polling places to go to, but this time you're going to get 3. So you better show up early if you're expecting to vote, because if turnout is high, then the lines may get long, and as was the case in Arizona, many people ended up just leaving because they couldn't stay, because either they had disabilities or they had to get back to work. So look, you have to expect the worst. Polling places have been dramatically cut, so if you are planning to vote in Rhode Island, please prepare ahead of time, get there early, look up where the nearest polling place is next to you. Now, on top of all of this, the executive director for Rhode Island's Board of Elections is currently on unpaid suspension for, quote, job performance issues. So let me just repeat this here. The individual who was literally tasked with making sure the election goes smoothly will not be there. So if there is all these long lines and problems, well, you may have no recourse for that. There may be nothing you could do, because their hands are tied. Now, there's already signs that there will be voting issues in California as well, unfortunately. So California is a semi-closed primary. So what that means is that you can only vote in the Democratic primary if you are registered as a Democrat, or if you are registered as having no party preference. Now, the problem is that in California, they actually have a political party named the American Independent Party. Now, some people have registered for this party thinking that they're registering as independents, but in actuality, they're signing up for a right-wing, anti-gay, anti-abortion party. Now, the LA Times investigated this and found out that up to 73% of voters registered within the party think they're registered as independents. So many people think that they are going to be able to vote for Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, when in actuality, they're going to be locked out from doing so because they are restricted to voting for someone in the conservative American Independent Party. So they explain residents of rural and urban communities, students and business owners, and top Hollywood celebrities with known Democratic leanings, including Sugar Ray Leonard, Demi Moore, and Emma Stone, were among those who believed they were declaring that they preferred no party affiliation when they checked the box for the American Independent Party. So if you are registered as an independent in California, please double check your registration, because if you're not registered as having no party preference, then you may be restricted from voting in the Democratic primary. And I will put a link in the description box that you can follow to double check if this is the case. And if you are incorrectly registered, you can also change your registration status at the link that I provide you with. Now, let me remind you that there are 500,000 people registered for the American Independent Party in California. And as we all know, in New York, Bernie Sanders only lost to Hillary Clinton by about 300,000 votes. So that 500,000 people could be make or break. So please, you guys have to be diligent. You have to ensure that you are registered correctly. This isn't necessarily any of their faults in California, because I don't believe any state should be a semi or closed primary state. But we have to do we have to work with what we got, basically. And please double check. Links will be in the description box, but just expect to have voting issues in Rhode Island and California. But if you're in these states and you plan on voting for Bernie, you have to take the time to make sure that you can vote in the primary for Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. Look, I just want democracy to happen. So people should never be restricted from voting based on how they're registered. So let's hope this goes smoothly, but this is an indication that it's probably not going to be the case.